Welcome to the In Love with PMDD podcast. I am your host, Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist, and I help you stop the monthly PMDD breakups. PMDD is premenstrual dysphoric disorder. It is in approximately 1 in 5 women, and it makes you want to break up with your partner approximately 1 to 2 weeks before your period every single month. So as someone who has suffered with PMDD for over 18 years, I dedicated my doctorate practice to helping partners navigate those monthly PMDD breakups with everything from attachment styles, triggers, sensitivity to noise, sensitivity to touch, all of the things that you really struggle with when you're in PMDD. And I also dedicated my dissertation to a phenomenological study of the relationship experiences of partners of individuals who suffer with premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So I'm not just here to help the sufferer, the one who is suffering with PMDD. I am here for the partners as well. So if you need those private sessions, make sure you go to inlovewithpmdd.com and get those tools. So let's get into this week's PMDD trauma transformational tools that is going to help you stop the monthly breakups and stop the suffering and stress in your PMDD relationship. Let's get into it. Today, I want to talk to you about one of the number one predictors of PMDD monthly breakups. This is a sign that I know for a fact, if this starts to show up within your PMDD relationship, you are at risk for breaking up. And I've been in this situation so many times where I've seen this happen. And also with a lot of my private clients, I've seen it. And that is losing respect for your PMDD partner, or when your PMDD partner has lost respect for you. So when respect leaves the PMDD relationship, it is a predictor of a breakup. The reason why is because the way it enters the relationship is so damaging, and it really affects how you view your PMDD partner. And it's already a fact that when you're in PMDD, you already have a distorted view, a negative view of your partner. But when you start to feel like you don't respect your PMDD partner and it shows up in your actions and your words, that means the way that you react to the symptoms that you have when PMDD comes is going to show that you don't respect your PMDD partner. When you start to lose respect for them, you will do things that you wouldn't normally do if you had respect for your PMDD partner. So I will give you an example of, PMDD rage is obviously one of our most common symptoms for those who suffer with PMDD. And I remember so many times when I've been in PMDD rage and I have withheld from saying things and doing things. And it took a lot out of me to not say and do things that I really felt like I wanted to in the moment. And I really felt justified. Like I should say this and I should say that, but I didn't do it because I respected my PMDD partner, because I held them at high regard, because I looked up to them in a sense of, this is a really good person and I really don't want to hurt them and they really don't deserve this. And I really had that thought in my mind while I was in PMDD rage. And that's the thing that stopped me. As horrible as I felt in the moment, as justified as I felt in the moment, I didn't say and do those things because I respected my partner, because I thought about the type of person that they are. And I was like, you know what? They probably didn't do this on purpose. So that's another thing that you do when you respect your PMDD partner. You give them the benefit of the doubt. You don't automatically assume that they're doing something negative. And I know PMDD, that's the goal. That's what PMDD tries to make you do with those intrusive thoughts and those ruminating thoughts. But when you have respect for your PMDD partner, you kind of do a lot of self-talk, right? And so internally, you'll say to yourself, if you feel like going off on your PMDD partner in PMDD rage or getting an attitude or shutting down, and you respect your PMDD partner, you will talk to yourself. You will literally be like, no, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to do that, whether it's out loud or internally. I know that is the process that normally happens, is you talk yourself out of doing the damaging things because you have that respect for your PMDD partner. So it is possible. I hear so many private clients and even, people on these message boards that are saying, I go off on PMDD rage and I can't control it. It's happening to me. I have no control over it. And I call BS. The reason why I do that is because I know what it feels like to stop yourself from saying and doing those things. And me respecting my PMDD partner is one of the main reasons why I've done this. What I'm going to tell you is it's not easy. It is harder, and you have to be very intentional about it. But to say that it's not possible is not true. To say that it's not possible to control your negative emotions, your PMDD rage, the disrespect, the shutting down, the stonewalling, the insults, the criticism, the blaming, the shaming, all of those things, PMDD causes them to happen for you to feel like doing those things, but it doesn't make you do it, right? So a lot of times we give PMDD more power than it really deserves. PMDD puts a lot of stuff on the inside of you, and it is your responsibility to navigate how you respond to that. And I know that it takes a lot out of you to stop yourself, to restrain yourself from doing certain things. But I've seen it so many times with my private clients. I've seen the transformation. I've literally gotten the emails. I've gone on sessions where they're giving me those testimonials and been like, if this was a year ago, that before I was working with you, Dr. Rose, I would have gone off on my PMDD partner during this situation, or I would have shut down on my PMDD partner during the situation, or I would have said hurtful things and done hurtful things. But because of the work that I've been doing with you, I'm giving different reactions to what is literally still going on with me with PMDD. So PMDD is still putting those negative thoughts in your mind, is still making you feel negatively about your PMDD partner, but now you just have tools to respond differently to them. So if that's something that you need help with, you need to go to my website and get the Stress Free with PMDD Partners package, where we meet on a weekly basis. And I really find out what's going on in your PMDD relationship and give you the tools to navigate every situation that you have going on. Because I know with me, things go on in my PMDD relationship on a daily basis. So if I'm not meeting weekly, if I'm not really sitting down and utilizing the tools and going through things, I can do a lot of damage. So I really want you to understand that it is possible for you to have a different reaction to the things that are going on in your mind and your body when you're going through PMDD in regards to how you respond to your PMDD partner. So it is possible. I just want you to take that thing off of the plate that's making you feel like all of my reactions are outside of my control and there's nothing that I can do about it. I have to disrespect my PMDD partner because that's just what I feel like doing. So I just have to do it. So I'm not saying that you're not going to feel like disrespecting your PMDD partner. I'm just saying I can give you the tools for you to make a better choice, to make a better decision in the moment. Because I know that a lot of times when you have done things that have disrespected your PMDD partner, you have that guilt after the fact because you're looking back and you're like, I can't believe I said that to them. I can't believe I did that to them. After the fact, you're feeling that remorse, but you're feeling the lack of control in the moment. And that's what my tools help you with, that in the moment shift that you're able to do so that you don't do damage in your PMDD relationship and you don't do damage to your partner. Because what I want to let you know is when you begin to disrespect your PMDD partner on a consistent basis, they actually lose respect for you in return. So now what we have is a couple with PMDD in the mix, and neither one of them respect each other. So this is where a lot of the fights and the arguments, this is when it gets really toxic and it goes really below the belt, is because you're cussing each other out, you're throwing things, you're breaking things, because neither one of you have respect for each other. So when you take that respect off the table, you're literally putting the gloves on and you're literally saying, okay, now we're going to fight dirty. Now we're going to fight dirty because neither one of us respect each other. So all of that restraint that I would have had, all of the biting my tongue or choosing not to say those things that are below the belt, choosing not to say things that, you were told in confidence, like it could have been traumatic events that you had from your childhood, traumatic events that you've had from the past. And, all of a sudden your partner is using that against you. That's one thing that came up in one of my relationships is And this is when I knew, so I'm going to give you some signs, but this is really when I knew that, man, my partner doesn't respect me, because there's certain things that you would just never do if you respect your PMDD partner. There's certain ammunition that you will have, but you will choose not to use against your PMDD partner. And what I mean by that, there's a lot of things that I've known about partners in the past that I've just chosen not to use against them, right? And one of the main things for us that suffer with PMDD, when your partner starts to throw PMDD in your face and make you feel like it's your fault that you have it, and you're PMDD, and you're PMDD, that's a sign of disrespect. That means they're not showing any compassion for the fact that you have a disorder. And then whenever you're reacting negatively or you're reacting in a way that they don't particularly like, they throw the fact that you have PMDD in your face, as if you can just do something about it, as if you're just choosing to have this disorder. They see you suffering, but they don't feel any remorse for your suffering, because there's a detachment emotionally that happens. When you don't respect someone, you're not really attached to their emotional reactions to the hurtful words that you're saying. Like, you say hurtful things and you don't even feel bad about it afterwards. You say things that are below the belt and you don't even feel bad about it afterwards. So that's how you know that there's a lack of respect there. And so if your partner is starting to throw PMDD in your face and making you feel bad about it, and then you're telling them, hey, that really hurt my feelings that you said this, and they're justifying it and saying, well, yeah, because you did this and you did that, they don't respect you. Because someone who respected you would understand that you're suffering with a disorder that you really don't have control over. You don't have control over whether you have the disorder or not. And you're really suffering trying to navigate how to respond, how not to respond. And you're spinning in your head about, what do I say about this? What do I do about this? All day long, you're suffering in your mind about how to react in a way that it's going to do the least amount of damage in your life, more or less your relationship. So you're going through that turmoil and you're telling your partner that you're trying really hard, and they're just basically making you feel like you need to do better. So they're minimizing your efforts and telling you that you're still not good enough. You're trying these things, you're doing these things, but you're still not showing up the way that, you need to show up for me. They don't respect you because they don't respect your efforts. And so this can be something that's happening consciously or subconsciously, meaning they consciously don't respect you. They know they don't respect you and they're just acting out on it. Or it could be subconscious, where they really don't even realize that they've lost respect for you, because a lot of times you lose respect for your PMDD partner along the way. Over time, it sneaks up on you. You start saying things and doing things that you wouldn't normally do, and you kind of catch yourself in the moment, but you continue doing it because you feel justified in the moment. Like, yeah, because they did this to me. So one of the main reasons that you start to lose respect for your PMDD partner is the way that they speak to you. I know that this has happened to me so many times, where partners have spoken to me in a way that is so disrespectful that it just showed me that they genuinely don't care about my emotions. They don't care about my mental health. They don't care about my PMDD. They don't care about my struggle. When you feel like someone doesn't care about you and doesn't care about your efforts and all those things, you lose respect for them, because you kind of feel like, okay, well, I can do all these things for you. You don't recognize it. You don't appreciate it. So why am I going to show you respect when you're clearly choosing disrespect when you speak to me? You're choosing disrespect with the way that you handle me, with the way that you approach me. You don't approach me in a way with tenderness and compassion and kindness. You approach me with roughness and criticism and blame and critiquing, and always making me feel less than. When you start to lose a lot of your self-esteem because of the way that your partner is speaking to you, that's a sign that they don't respect you, because they know that they're tearing you down, and they really feel like they don't care because they feel justified in it. They want their needs met. You're not meeting their needs, and they're choosing to disrespect you in the process in the way that they bring it up to you. So I am all about calling your PMDD partner out, right? I've said that from the very first episode, but there's a way that you do it where you still show respect for your PMDD partner. You don't disrespect your PMDD partner by calling them out. You call them out in love. You bring out the things that are really issues in your relationship and say, hey, can we deal with this? Can we utilize these tools? Can we have sessions with Dr. Rose so that we can address some of the things that are going on in our relationship? Because I love you, I care about you, I'm invested in this relationship. So I want to deal with the things that are causing us damage, not just criticizing them and telling them how horrible of a person they are, how horrible of a partner they are because they're not doing this and they're not doing that. That's disrespectful. And I'm pretty sure the way that it's communicated is disrespectful. So the way that you speak to your PMDD partner will really indicate whether you have respect for them. I remember earlier in my journey, I had a partner and oh my gosh, this was the level of disrespect in this relationship was astounding because I met him. He had moved to the area and he was newly divorced. You know, they were separated for a while, but newly divorced. And we were just going to date, right? We were just going to date. We are just having fun, all of the things. We had a lot of things in common. We were both kind of like new to the area. So we decided to explore it. And it was light and fun. And then we fell in love. And I remember him saying literally like, I'm so mad at you because I was planning on just having fun and dating and I wasn't ready for a relationship, but I fell in love with you. And we would always joke about that because it wasn't in the plan for us to be in like a super serious committed relationship. But when we fell in love, we kind of just knew that we spent all of our time together. I mean, we worked out together, we went out to eat together, we went out at night together, like everything we did was together. We rode to work together, like everything was so in sync and we were so like we just had a lot of fun. You ever had a partner where and you this may be your partner that you have right now where you just enjoy living life with them? Like that was us. Like it was just fun. It was literally like um living because we were living in the same neighborhood. That's one of the ways that we met because you know they had a house and they had kids and I had, you know, my daughter. And so we were both kind of single parenting it. And so we would like have the kids on play dates. And so we had we would spend all of our time at each other's houses. We would do everything. So being that we fell in love so quickly after his divorce, after he separated, he had partial custody of his kids. And so the kids would come for the summer and then they would go back during the school year. So he was in communication with his ex-wife quite frequently. And so when things had gotten serious, he brought me home to spend Christmas. I will never forget this. He brought me home to spend Christmas with his family, but he needed to go pick up his kids. We were going to get a hotel. We actually went to Vegas and because he lived in Vegas, he had a house there. And we went there and we got like a Airbnb and we were going to do all these things with the kids, but we had to go to the house and pick up the kids. And I remember his ex-wife looking me up and down. Like it was the most awkward thing. I was sitting in the living room, like waiting for the kids to get ready. And oh my gosh. So she was looking me up and down. She was kind of judging me. I already knew it. I didn't, you know, think that everything was going to be kumbaya, but I was just like, get me out of here. And so after that, we picked up the kids. We had an amazing time. The kids love me. Like I'm really good with kids. But yeah, we had an amazing time. After that Christmas, we went back home and we went back to our routine, but something had shifted and changed. He was spending more time talking to his ex-wife. She was kind of saying, oh, I need to talk to you about the kids with this. And, oh, I need to talk. Like it was all of these things. And she would start to say things about me, which like, if she heard me in the background, she'd be like, I don't know that. Like she was criticizing me to, you know, my boyfriend at the time. And I was just like, oh my God, like this is bold. And I think because they had such a strong bond, they were married like 10 years before. Well, it was like 8 or 9 years, like almost 10 years before. Obviously, they had the kids together and all the things. And I think when she saw how in love we were, she felt really threatened. And well, not maybe, but she obviously wanted him back. And so he started spending a lot of time talking to her. And I was just like, hey, what's going on here? And I kind of like talked to him and I was like, what is going on? You're spending a lot of time talking to, and I'm not a jealous person, but it was like super obvious. Like he would just like be in the kitchen while I'm in the kitchen, like talking to her and oh, blah, 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 and joking and laughing. And I'm like, hello. Like, so again, the disrespect was happening, but it creeped up on him. He started to do things that he would never do, but there was a reason behind it. She had a hold on him that, you know, if you've been with someone for a while, even if you argue, you fall out, all of the things, they can still have an emotional hold on you. And I don't think that enough time had gone by to where that wasn't a thing, because he never really stopped communicating with her. And so I remember, I will never forget this, that he started to say, I'm not talking to her too much. You're just letting her get under your skin. Like, he was starting to defend her to me. Because I would bring it up to him. I'm like, hey, like, don't you think that's a little, too much? Or, she's crossing the line by talking about me all the time. And he was like, she's not really talking about you. Like, he was defending her. So long story short, he broke up with me. And I remember him breaking up with me by saying this statement. And this is why I'm telling you that the lack of respect is a telltale sign that you're going down the realm of a breakup, is because he said, I'm losing respect. No, he said, I lost respect for you and I really want to break up because I know what that looks like. Once I've lost respect for someone, I start to treat them differently. And because we were kind of like best friends and like boyfriend, girlfriend, I was like, what are you talking about? He was like, I know what I'm like. Once I lose respect for someone, I know the things that I do. I know the lines that I will cross. I know the things that basically, he was saying that he just didn't want to cheat on me. And he had lost respect for me. And I was thinking, what did I do to deserve you to lose respect for me? And it was not that I was doing something. It was the fact that his ex-wife was saying all of these things about me, and she had a hold on him, and he was leaning into the things that she was saying. There was this comparison thing. She started talking about my parenting style, like just things that whatever she could grab at. So I'm more of a very open parent. I am firm but fair. I talk about things, I explain things to my daughter, and I've always been that way. And so this was early in my journey where he was feeling like I needed to be more tough and more disciplined and more rigid. And like, he grew up in that area of children should be seen and not heard. And I'm like, no, I want to actually explain things to my child. And so we didn't agree with parenting on that aspect. And so he started to lose respect for me as a parent, because he's like, you need to spank her, or you need to do this, and you need to tell. And I was like, who are you to tell me on how to discipline like my child? I'm definitely not doing that. But she was using different areas that they had in common and that they connected with, and saying, look how she parents. Like, I don't want her parenting our kids, because she doesn't even discipline her daughter, and blah, 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 which was not true. I disciplined, just not to the realm that they had agreed upon. So he was starting to lose aspects with different aspects of my life, nothing that had to do with me and him, but he was starting to lean into that. He was starting to treat me differently. And so he basically said, I'm going to break up with you because I don't want to disrespect you. Like, I don't want to act out what I feel like is happening here. And so I was like, oh my God. So long story short with that one is, he broke up with me. I was heartbroken. It caught me completely off guard. This is why I'm telling you, the disrespect is a telltale sign for the breakup, because had I known that, I would have seen it coming. When I started to see that he was disrespecting me by, talking to his ex while I'm in the room, like all of those things, I would have been like, we're about to break up. Or, when we're in the realms of PMDD, when they start throwing it in your face, like, you should know, like, okay, this probably means that they don't respect you. When they start talking to you harshly, probably means that they don't respect you. So he ended up breaking up with me. And then when I break up with someone, I pretty much cut off all contact. There's no contact. There's no pass and go, no collecting $200. I don't go back and forth. I try not to get to the point where I cut you completely off, because I know once I do, I'm not going back. So if I'm trying to save the relationship, I will pretty much like restrain from cutting you off, because I know me, once you're cut off, I mean, I'm gone. Like, I'm gone, 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 gone. Like, you're blocked. You're not seeing anything. Like, I'm gone. So he broke up, he broke up with me. So I cut him completely off. Of course, I talked to the kids first, and they were crying. It was horrible. It was not good for the kids. And I was so like, that was my biggest thing. I'm like, you did this to the kids. Like, they loved me. I loved them. Our kids played together. Like, it was a big thing that I really just was like, wow. Like, I was very careful about dating and kids and all those things after that. That really broke my heart. But I completely cut him off. And then years later, one of my friends was like, hey, like, isn't this your ex? Blah, blah, blah. He literally broke up with me, got not even just got back with his ex-wife, remarried his ex-wife, and they had a baby together, all in less than a year. Like they got back together, she got pregnant, they had a baby together. So now they had two kids, and now they have the third. And then I'm like, what? Well, fast, and I was just like heartbroken. I'm like, I can't believe that, but I mean, I could believe it because it was kind of validation that, yeah, that was really disrespectful. And we broke up, and now I see why. Like, now I see why or whatever. Now, present day, fast forward more and more and more, they got divorced after they got remarried. So they got divorced for the second time. They're actually presently not together. And I think he tried to reach out to be court, and I was just like, really? Like, it's not even a matter of throwing it in his face or being bitter, because what I respected about him was that he literally was self-aware enough to know that I'm about to disrespect you, because what was going to happen? He was probably going to cheat on me with his ex-wife because he was feeling the urge. He knew that he was at that point where he wasn't completely over with her. Maybe he was, still in love with her. Whatever the case is, I respected him, that he respected me enough to break it off before he disrespected me more by cheating. And that's another thing that really happens when you don't have respect for someone, when you don't have respect for your PMDD partner, you leave the door open. And it's really dangerous in PMDD relationships, because there's so many times when I was doing my doctorate in PMDD partners, so many partners were saying that they weren't getting their needs met. And this is how the disrespect comes in. When your partner is not getting their needs met, they're leaving the door open for infidelity to get their needs met, because they're feeling justified in being unfaithful, in cheating, in emotionally cheating, because they may feel like if you emotionally shut down on them when you're in PMDD, and they feel that that's a sign of disrespect, or they feel like that's emotional neglect, or they feel like that's abuse, however they rationalize it in their mind, they may feel like, because you did this to me, they may feel like, well, I'm just going to cheat on you. Not saying, obviously they're not going to say that to you, but they may feel justified in being unfaithful because they're not getting their needs met. So they're leaving the door open for a breakup, because number one, once you find out that they've cheated, you may make the choice of breaking up. But then two, it's the disrespect. It's like, you don't even respect me enough to break up with me. You're choosing to stay in the relationship, open yourself up emotionally, open yourself up physically to someone else, because you're not getting your needs met. And guess why? It's because they don't respect you. They don't respect you enough to not be getting their needs met in the moment, but know that it's a temporary thing, and to just sustain themselves while still being faithful and being loyal and committed to the relationship. Because honestly, I'm going to tell this to you. I don't care what kind of treatment that you're getting within a relationship. It does not give you the right to be unfaithful with your partner. Break up with them. This is the time where, like I told you, when my partner broke up with me, it was horrible. It broke my heart. Obviously, I don't stand for breakups, but listen, if you're about to cheat on your PMDD partner, I would rather you break up. This is pretty much the only time that I'm going to say, hey, outside of abuse, that I'm going to say, hey, you should probably break up. Because if you do not respect your partner enough to just be open with them and say, I'm not committed anymore. I don't want to be loyal anymore. I don't want this relationship anymore. So we need to end this before you go opening yourself up to someone else. You don't respect it. You don't respect your partner, and you don't respect relationships, period. So whoever you're cheating with, and I always say this, when you cheat with someone and you expect that relationship to work, you're just leaving the door. You know what that person is capable of. Obviously, you're cheating with them. They could probably cheat on you. Like, there's a lack of respect for relationships, period. Because as for me, I will never cheat on a partner, but I will communicate when the relationship is dead and gone, it's over. I will give that level of respect and say, hey, I've done everything I've known to do. I've tried everything. I've stuck it out as long as, I know to do. I'm drowning here. I can't take this anymore. And not necessarily because of PMDD, or anything like that, if I fundamentally believe that the issues within our relationship are not in a place where they can be repaired, I will break up with you before I disrespect you and open myself up to anyone else, because that is in my character. I have to look myself in the mirror every single day. I have to, be able to sleep at night, because when you cheat and you have a conscience and you're actually a good person, good luck, because it's literally, it's going to eat you alive. Right. And the fact that you can think that you can emotionally cheat or physically cheat and get away with it, and disrespect your partner and get away with it and just move on, it's going to come back on you. And then you can call it whatever you want. You reap what you sow, what goes around comes around, whatever phrase you want to use. You're setting your karma, right? You're setting yourself up, because it's a form of disrespect. You are not respecting your partner's heart. They chose to open up their heart to you. They chose to open up their body to you, and you're choosing to disrespect them on a level where you're bringing a third party into your relationship without their permission, and you're disrespecting their vulnerability. There's just so much disgust that I have for infidelity. And when it comes to disrespect, I believe that there's levels, but cheating is like the ultimate disrespect. And so when your partner has PMDD and you're starting to see these little signs of disrespect, I strongly encourage you to immediately get help in your relationship before you cross the line of infidelity or physically abusing or verbally abusing. Just get help before it gets to that point. And I've even done this in relationships before where we've had issues, and I've literally gone to a partner and said, hey, we really need to work on this because I'm losing respect for you. Because I'm very self-aware. So I was able to literally have that conversation. I was like, I don't want to disrespect you, but I feel it coming. Like, I feel myself losing respect for you. And it's a dangerous place to be. And I will communicate that to a partner immediately. And I will tell you the reasons why I've lost respect before. And that has been when I feel like I have so much stress and overwhelm and all of these things on my plate. And you know that I have all of these things on my plate. You know that I'm suffering with these things, and you're not choosing to help me at all, but you're consistently taking from me. You're wanting me to be a good PMDD partner. You're wanting me to pour into you. You're wanting me to be loving, to be affectionate, to be supportive, to give you words of affirmations, whatever your love language is, to be open to you physically, to be open to you emotionally, to make you feel good at the expense of my own mental health and well-being. Like, you see that I'm depleted and you're still choosing to take from me. Like, that means I'm losing respect for you because you're choosing to take from me when I barely have anything to give. And you're not even feeling bad about it. You're actually asking for more. I had a partner do this to me where I had so much going on. I mean, school, work, clients, our daughter. I had the dog. I had taking care of the house, finances, all of these things that I had going on, and I was drowning. And my partner was like, yeah, I need you to do more of this for me. I need you to do more of that for me. I need you to be more affectionate. I need you to be more loving. I need you to, and I was like, what? Like, and I asked specifically, I'm not one of those partners where I make you guess on how to support me. I literally said, hey, I need help with this. I need help with sharing the finances. I need help with sharing the chores. I need help with sharing the day-to-day things. And they were pretty much like, no, I'm not going to do that. In so many words. Like, they didn't say no, but they didn't do the things. Like, it was like, oh, okay, I hear you. And then no actions were taken. Or I would say things like, hey, I'm suffering because of this action that you're doing. Like, can we work out something to where this is not a thing so that I don't continue to suffer? And instead of them being like, oh my gosh, I don't want you to suffer. Like, let's fix this. If this is on me, like, taking accountability. yeah, let's fix this. Instead of that, they're blaming me. They blame me. And it's like, you're the problem. You're the one that has an issue with this. I don't have an issue with this. Like, I'm doing this habit. I don't have an issue with it. You're the one that has an issue. You want me to change because you have issues. I was like, what? So I was losing respect because they weren't taking my emotional mental health into consideration. They were allowing me to be depleted, allowing me to go through PMDD and suffer and suffer and suffer, and not even trying to do anything to take anything off my plate, to be like, wow, you're my partner, you're my person. I don't want to see you suffer. I'm going to change some things. They were pretty much like, nope, like, it's on you. You can choose to end your suffering by just not letting it bother you. I was like, what in the, like, I was so shocked that there's a level of emotional disconnection. When you don't respect someone, you're not as connected to them emotionally. So that means you can see them suffering and you really you don't feel compelled to do anything about it. That's how you know there's disrespect. Where I had this one time, again, I was like moving out from one of my exes. And I was like, my ex literally let me move furniture in the house because they didn't respect me. They were just like, oh, it is what it is. They're moving out. But I was just like, there's no level of compassion. The love is pretty much gone. It's really hard to say that you love someone that you don't respect, because the actions that you portray are showing that you don't respect the person. The actions are there. It's just like, there's no way you love me. Like, there's no way that you love me and you're watching me suffer and you don't even feel bad about it. There's a lack of ownership. It's almost like it has nothing to do with them. Like, oh, you're suffering, that has nothing to do with me. It's like, yeah, it has to do with you. Like, I'm your person. Like, we're together. So if I'm suffering, not that you should be suffering, but you should be affected, or you should feel compelled to do something about it. When you don't respect the person, you could care less that they're suffering. You're kind of like, huh? Or you're like, I'm sorry that you're going through that. Or they start saying statements like, I'm sorry you feel that way. It's like, no. Like, you have something to do with the way that you have something to do with me feeling this way. Like, this is not an individual thing. Like, when you don't respect your PMDD partner, their suffering is their suffering. Your suffering is your, like, there's a separation there. Like, you don't feel like you have any responsibility to alleviate their suffering because you don't respect them. You're like, I hope they get it together. And you're together. Like, you're actually together, but you're like, oh, they got a lot going on over there, as if you have nothing to do with it. So what I want you to get from this, from any of the examples that I've given you on this episode, is if you are in that place where you are losing respect for your PMDD partner, you need to get help immediately. It can be restored, but it's very strategic, especially when it comes to PMDD. If you know that every time you go into PMDD, or every time your partner goes into PMDD, there's disrespect being shown, that's a telltale sign, like the super red flag. You need to get help, because the actions that come after that are probably going to be things that you may not be able to come back from. Like I told you, if you get to the point where you're feeling so neglected that when other people start, feeding into you emotionally, and you're starting to lean into it, and they're telling, your partner's telling you you're a piece of crap, and someone else is telling you you're the best thing since sliced bread, and you're starting to talk to that person that's telling you you're the best, that's a form of disrespect. And you left the door open for that. That you need to get help before you do more than just emotionally cheat. You're about to physically cheat, because now you feel connected to someone else because they're filling your tank. They're speaking your love language. You're like, oh, you're starting to envision what life would be like with this person. You're comparing them. You listen, this is the time, because when PMDD comes and everything's intensified, and more of your needs don't get met, and you start going internal, and they start going somewhere else, like, listen, this is the time. Go to my website, inlovewithpmdd.com, and get the Stress-Free with PMDD Partners package. That is the package where we meet every single week for 90 minutes and go through everything in your PMDD relationship, including the disrespect, because we got to get you out of this cycle before it's too late. And before it exasperates things in PMDD. It's going to make it, when you are in PMDD and you don't respect your partner, you're probably going to say and do things that are going to cause you to suffer with guilt and shame because you're saying things to them, you're cussing them out because you don't respect them. You don't care. Like they're emotionally cheating because they don't care. They don't care that you're you may tell them I'm suffering in PMDD with this and this and this, and they're like, I'm sorry to hear it. If your partner doesn't care about your suffering, they're losing respect for you. If they lost respect for you. So if you know that you're at that place, go book those sessions, go get into the Breakup Proof Academy, get around individuals that are going to really support you. I pour into you every single week in the Breakup Proof Academy. Every single week you get a new tool on what you can do within your PMDD relationships. And I'm available on the Q&As where we can just talk about whatever you have going on, and you can get that live aspect of it, and you can watch the replays, all of the things. But I will see you in the academy. I will see you on the private sessions, and I will see you and hear you on the next episode. We got this. I hope this PMDD episode helped you and your partner in your struggles within your relationship. And if this is something that you know that you need help with and you need further support, individualized support, make sure you're going to inlovewithpmdd.com and you're getting those private sessions to really work through what you're going through in your relationship, specifically in regards to PMDD. And also, I want you to leave a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. What this does is it helps other PMDD sufferers and partners find this show that can help them get these free PMDD relationship tools. I remember what it felt like to not know that there were tools out there specifically for PMDD relationships. So I want to make sure that you are sharing these tools with others, share them on your social media, share them with people that you know that are also struggling in their PMDD relationships. Until next episode, this is Dr. Rose, your PMDD relationship psychotraumatologist. One more thing, I almost forgot. I now have the Fresh Start PMDD Partners Workbook. What this workbook can do is if you've had past traumatic experiences with your partner, past fights, past arguments, and they keep coming up every single month in PMDD, I created a Fresh Start Workbook so that you can deal with all of the traumatic experiences that have happened in the past in PMDD rage and all of these things so you can stop going through the same cycle again and again and again. So get that workbook. It comes with a video episode of the actual podcast that I recorded on getting a fresh start in your PMDD relationship. So you're not continuing the same cycle again and again and again. So make sure that you get that workbook. And if you need those individualized counseling sessions, you know where to go, inlovewithpmdd.com. Until next time, we got this. Love you.